of luxury because you'll be trying to recover. You will discover that you'll become temperate in your operations. If God puts a burden on your finances, say sponsor this vision, sponsor that vision, there are some shoes you won't buy again. There are some holidays you would have loved to, but you won't go. The reason is because God is sharing a burden with you. And because of that, it will now begin to impact you. That's why the pathway of a spiritual man is narrow. It's narrow because burdens make them narrow. If God tells you to pray for 4 hours or 5 hours every day, your friends will reduce. And the time you have to hang out will also reduce. Because that prayer time is a burden. And because you have to meet it, it will now trim your life. So these are the things that shape the path of a spiritual man. Ezekiel, let me read the scripture. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 4 and verse 8. This is a burden that God wanted to share with a prophet. Now, this guy had a normal life, the way you and I do, going about his everyday living. But his hunger for God became so much, so God came to share a burden with him. And look at the burden God shared with him. In Ezekiel 4 verse 4, he said, lie down also upon your left side. He said, lie down on your left side. That's a burden. He said, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of the days thou shalt lie down, you shall bear that iniquity. You know how many days? It was 390 days. Somebody who was doing his business, God suddenly come and say, go and lie on your left side and be interceding for Israel for 390 days. You know what that means? All the business he's doing will shut down. It's called a burden. God can't trust you with a burden unless he first of all sees your hunger for him. And when he finished, in verse 8, God now went further and said, lie on your right hand side and intercede for the iniquity of Judah for 40 days. So Ezekiel laid on one spot for 430 days. That's more than 1 year. What if Ezekiel was planning to marry that year? This is a spiritual man. A spiritual man is a prisoner of Christ. This is where Paul got to. Paul began, he said, I'm an apostle, a preacher, and a teacher. A point came, Paul said, I'm a prisoner of Christ, because the burdens became many. Burdens will increase and it will now shape you, and will shape you into a kind of person. Those days I used to talk about people derogatorily who can't pick their course. I said, what do you mean? What are you doing? That somebody will call you, you can't pick. How many minutes do you pick course? I've repented. Because when God puts the burden of a nation on you, you have to plan well. If I carry my phone now, I have, let me show you something. I have 1,594 unread messages. 1,594 unread messages. Not read. This is the one I've been able to handle. Because there are sick people calling. There are people who need to pay school fees calling. There are hungry people calling. Now, I'm afraid of picking calls, because if I pick one call, even if it's for 2-3 minutes, before I drop it, another call will be ringing. And because it's ringing when I'm busy, the person will know that I'm with the phone. So sometimes I will pick one innocent call, and as I'm talking, another one comes in. I will talk to that one, talk. You will now be on call for 3 hours. And if you don't stop, it won't stop. So now, those who know me, they call me around 1 a.m. in the morning. If what you want to tell me is serious, that's when you can. Me and you will wait till that time. Because there are many things around my clock now that makes it difficult for me. I no longer have the luxury of talking to somebody for 30 minutes on phone. I didn't know before. They know here. Sometimes I work from Sunday to Sunday. And some of my meetings, I have to push them into 11 p.m. to be able to have them in the itinerary. But the reason is because God can entrust you with it. So when God sees your hunger, God now begins to give you burdens. So you share in the burdens of God. It is in the corridor of burden that you lose your life. Because you can't keep your life and share God's burden. That's why a spiritual man does not have a life. God will take that life and substitute it with the things that are in his agenda.